Hello, welcome to Good Morgan Therapy. I'm Morgan here today with my special guest, my dad. And
Dead.
dad. I'm very excited to have him here, A, because he's the best. And B, because I asked my don't make that face. I asked my Instagram followers, I said, what is hard or painful about your relationship with your parents? The first one, somebody said they chose new partners, and I always felt like an outsider to the new family. I felt neglected and forgotten.
Ooh, obviously that hits home a little bit.
Can you explain why you're an authority on that feeling?
Oh,
People get it?
well, I lived with a lot of families. My dad was married a number of times. My mom was married a number of times. I spent no time living with my mother in her actual household and very little time living in the house with my father. Lived close, and worked in a family business, but not in the same household. So, or not very much.
So you
So
watched him with another family.
yeah, I watched him with his fourth wife and her two children
Hmm.
that eventually were adopted, and I claim them as my brother and sister. Love them to get to death, but yeah, I get that. I never felt that. It's not really anybody's fault, but um, I know what it's like when you're like, you see your friends and other people that have dedicated parents that are on their side and make them feel very wanted and important and
Yeah.
like wonder what that feels like.
Does that make you feel angry at the world, like the world owes you something?
I don't know if it's anger. I don't really feel that way much anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
but I mean, like as a
I
kid,
would
and then,
I would say jealous,
mm,
jealous, or just not understanding. And it's easy to internalize everything and assume, it's like, well, what was wrong with me?
yeah,
Why? I don't get it. And I don't know if you even think about it. I'm sure everybody's different. Their situations are different, and the people that they're with are saying different things and doing different things and acting in different ways than what I experienced. But it's everybody's just, I think sometimes, and I think that's true for almost everything, is that we forget that everybody is a human just like we
mm,
are. They don't come endowed with any real special qualities to speak of, and they make tons of mistakes just like we do. And they're their own person trying to figure out their own life and who they are and how things are supposed to work. And we're kind of expecting, or it was like, well, aren't you supposed to be paying attention to me?
mm,
These guys, their parents pay attention to them. They show up at things at school. They
mm.
do those things. Aren't you supposed to be like that? Because you just compare. But
Yeah.
in the end, there so many people have those same things, and then I think they do it. I did it to you. I was not a great parent. I know that you'll say something positive, but I was not a great parent. And you and your brother both know that. And I carried a lot of baggage from my childhood and I operated, my operating model was not good. And it had its impacts on you and on your brother. And
Mm.
interestingly, I was the same guy, faulted, obviously. I was the same faulted guy with the same operating model, but you both internalized that experience completely differently.
Yeah, I think we also got treated differently because I was younger, female. So just inherently, that's going to happen. You can't help it.
Well, I'm sure to some degree, but generally my general demeanor was pretty much what it was.
I mean, you felt either angry or playful to me as a kid. It was like either playful version of you or angry version of you.
Yeah, I think your brother would say the same thing. It might have been a different playful. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
the angry was pretty similar.
Yeah. But I
I
get
shouldn't laugh about
why.
that, but yeah,
I mean, you
some
got
people
it.
don't because it's easy for, I'm super thankful for the fact that for whatever reason that you've taken the interest and paid the price. And I, I don't know how many people are actually going to hear this, but I can clearly and confidently say Morgan paid a very dear price to stick through her personal challenges and come out where she's at right now.
Mm.
So there you go.
Well, so
And
I watched you do the same thing.
now you beat me to it. You were
I guess
much
I'm
younger.
actively watching you.
I was 30 years ahead of you, and somehow we ended up trying to work through that stuff at about the same time, I guess. But
Maybe that's
um,
why.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we both needed somebody doing it at the same time.
It's impressive. But back to the original
Thank you.
question.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's just it it is what it is. It's hard. And I think the sooner you come to the conclusion that, it's luck of the womb. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
That's who I was born with. I find myself thinking about the fact that maybe my childhood wasn't perfect,
Yeah.
but I know that there are a lot of people that don't live past 1, 2 years old, 3 years old, born into insane poverty, hunger, and an unwell, challenging, unsafe environment that what makes me any better than them? Well, just dumb luck. Where I happened to be born. I may not have had the best parenting example in the world, but when I came out of the womb, there were some people around me that were interested. There were people that wanted to see that I had a roof over my head, that I was safe, that I had food to eat. It may have been bread, milk, and sugar, and hot dogs and fried bologna,
Yeah.
and white bread. But at the time, oh, hell, that's great.
I mean,
Who's
from
not going to
one,
like that?
the fact that you switched schools 12 or 13 times, I said I said 13, you were like, "No, it was only 12." I was like, that's still an insane number of times, Dad. Before you graduated, on from one side is like, oh, that's awful. And on the other side is you had enough people consistently wanting
There was always
to
somewhere to
help.
go.
You just had to
I
go a
was like
lot.
a cute puppy.
You
There was always a shelter for me.
well, at least you think you're cute.
That's right. Not anymore. But anyway,
I was.
yeah.
There was you made a comment about as a kid, you have to wonder, what is it about me? Um,
Don't you
I
think
just
a
wanted
lot
to
of people feel that way?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to it real quickly because child psychology, all kids are egocentric,
Hmm.
meaning they believe everything is their fault. If their parent is happy, it's their fault. If their parent is angry, it's their fault. If their parent leaves them, it's their fault. If there's food on the table, it's like everything is their fault because they are the cause of everything in their world. As your brain's developing, that's the whole
Interesting.
maturing
Yeah.
out of believing you're the center of the universe, um, which means you create coping mechanisms as if everything is your fault. And until you heal those or train out of them, you'll carry them into adulthood. Even when you rationally know it's not your fault, you'll still act like it was. You'll still respond like it was until you start to heal it. But it is healable. I just wanted to point that out because it's like you're not weird or wrong for thinking it's your fault. You're just developing like a normal human,
Oh, I
you know?
totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm 62
Mhm.
and I'm still
Yeah.
seriously struggling with that. My
Yeah.
default is always, what did I won't talk about it here, but I had an issue pop up early this morning,
Oh.
and I thought, what did I do? What? I don't get it. What, it was an employee issue.
Oh, okay.
They sent me a text and I just totally blindsided me. And my
Oh.
first thing was exactly what you're saying. It's that childhood training. And then as the day goes on, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What about this? What? And so by the time, it takes me a long time to grind through it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're having a brain fart. You
Yeah.
got your own issues.
Yeah.
You kind of handed them off to me out of some automatic thing, but I mean, I've tried I believe me, I spent all day trying to figure out how I had screwed this up or how I had done something wrong. And and every time I come up with a thing, I'm like, well, wait a minute. No, that wasn't it. No, that wasn't it. And I,
Mm,
sincerely looking for
yeah.
how it was that I was responsible for it. So here I am again, 62, and
Yeah.
still do that.
Which I've witnessed you do. It's like a extra accountability for you're always looking for how to be responsible. On the, I mean, maybe the difference between the a child mindset and a mature or maybe a trauma mindset and a healed mindset is, oh, wait, no, got it. Somebody messaged, commented this on my post, and I was like, that's perfect. How did I, what trauma mindset is, how did I screw up? And healed mindset is, how did things get screwed up? Which might
Ah,
include me.
hmm I can't do that for myself very well. I think a lot of people are like that. I cannot, I can't consult myself. It amazes me how easy it is to look at someone else's stuff just really distantly and pragmatically and be
Yeah.
able to answer. I mean, look at financials and go, I think this is an issue and I think this is an issue. But if I look at my own, every number, it's like, is that number right? Should it be better? Should it be worse? I don't
Oh
know. Is that
gosh.
my fault?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. So
Eh.
looking at my own things are terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did I do wrong?
obviously the things have gone decently for your mother and I, um, but it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, it's hell in your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
As therapists
yeah.
say to their clients very often, that's exhausting.
Yeah, I think the other side is it's hard to let go of blame because it feels like letting go of control, and letting go of control feels unsafe, maybe.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
is it
Oh,
possible that when I let go of blame, I worry that I'm letting go of responsibility.
dude.
Is that if I let it go, does that mean I'm taking the easy route and I'm because none of us like to be treated that way when somebody's dismissive and they don't
Hmm.
take you feel like they're responsible for something that happened to you. I mean, road rage pops in my head, you know. Moving along.
Well,
Sorry.
no, I love that. No, I love that. This is one of the most common things working with clients, with couples. It's all about blame. Every argument is about blame because they think I want to be accountable. I want to be an accountable adult and I want you to be accountable. But blame doesn't create accountability. It creates shame and defensiveness.
Hmm.
Understanding creates accountability. If I understand your pain and my role in it, then I'll have accountability for my role, but not take ownership of your pain versus blame.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm taking your power from you when you give me blame because you're saying I have all the control.
And you didn't ask for it.
No. Yeah. So I am constantly like, okay, how do we get you from to feel safe enough to go to understanding instead of blame? It's like
Do
my
you think that we all
biggest.
have a martyr meter?
I like that name, martyr meter.
And we've got to keep the needle in a certain range. Like you're driving down the road and your RPMs have to be in a certain range
Yeah.
or your
I
engine
need to
temperature is
be
a certain
I
range.
need to
I
I
got to
need to be
be this
set
much of a
between
victim. So I'm going to have to blame you this much so that I can keep my meter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think it could set as in childhood. This is where it's comfortable. This is where people have sympathy for me still. I
Hmm.
mean, most of it comes from, oh, people respond to me really well when I'm the victim because they feel sorry for me. But if I don't act like the victim, they don't feel sorry for me.
Yeah. So you've got
So,
this precast
yeah.
dashboard of meters and you got to
Yeah.
keep everything
Yes,
running in that certain way.
and they're all set in childhood and then as an adult you're like, "Wait, this might make people feel sorry for me, but it makes me feel like crap."
Yeah.
And so maybe I should, how do I adjust this meter as an adult? I like that analogy. King
You
of
know, it
analogies. Go
makes me
Burch.
makes me think about people. A very sad thought is when you're driving your life and you're looking at your dashboard and you don't like what you see and you feel like your only option is to turn the car off. But don't you think that's what that happens to people?
Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
moving along.
Well,
Sorry.
we could
I see that look in your
actually,
face. It's like, okay, we better hit the next topic really quick.
that's not at all what my look was.
Is that right? Okay.
No, not at all what my look was. No, that was, I feel like it was very revealing
Oh,
statement.
I'm driving my car just fine.
The best description I've ever read of suicidal ideation is David Foster Wallace, and it's said trying to explain suicide is like asking somebody who is in a burning building why they jumped in a burning high rise why they jumped out the window.
Hmm.
At some point, it's better to jump out the window than to stay in the burning building, even though you're
Great
going to die
analogy.
either way.
Hmm. But those flames may be more, they're very real to
Yeah,
that person, but they
right.
may be more a perception than a reality
Yeah.
looking at it from the outside, but it doesn't matter. When you're in that
Hmm.
scenario, you're in that scenario and you believe what you believe. A cute story. Growing up, I grew up at a marina, which and I'm on a boat, and a kid that I'm working with who had just started working for us, I had no idea he did not know how to swim. And he jumped off the front of the boat that I was driving
Oh my
with a rope in his hand to jump to the dock, not realizing the rope was shorter than the distance than what he was jumping. And the rope came tight and he went into the water and he just went crazy. And I ran up to the front of the boat and I just yelled at him over and over, stand up, stand up, stand up. And he didn't hear me. That's not why he stood up. His foot just happened to hit the bottom and he was like, oh, boop. He popped up and the kid's like 6 feet tall. So the water's like up to his butt cheeks is all,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, but in that little bit, you're on the ledge and you're sure
Right.
that the building's burning and you jump and you don't know, maybe the bottom's a little closer than you thought it was, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So the other one, which I think you could speak to very well, you've witnessed this so much. It's hard and painful to see my parents become less and less independent.
Hmm. Yeah.
What, how would you make this person feel seen and comforted given what you've seen? And dad has ran, run, Rammer has run
I've been around
so
some old
many.
people.
You've been around some old people. You were raised partially by old people, and then you ran various forms of old people homes.
Whoever that is that has a parent that they're worried about,
Yeah, yeah,
that parent is one of those parents are the luckiest of
yeah,
parents because I mean, there's a huge win. Who cares about anything else right there because they love their parents enough to worry about their condition and whether they're going to be healthy or what
yeah,
they could do to live the longest, best life possible. And they may be fighting a battle they can't win, but they
yeah,
might win some, they might win a few in there that buys them some time. And just the fact that they want to is one heck of a big deal.
yeah,
Well, I would say that the greatest thing that you can give somebody that's aging is love. Just love them right where they're at, exactly the way they are. And if you can help them a little bit, maybe do something with them. Hey, let's go. Instead of you sitting there watching MSNBC or Fox News all day because it's got you going,
yeah.
then how about you and I go do this? Let's go
Hmm.
play mini golf. Let's go for a walk. Let's go do something. And because it's easy for me to get into a rut and just not want to do it because I'm like, yeah, I've kind of been there, done that. There's not a lot out there I want to do. I'd really rather just stay home. But then when I go do something, like when we go do, you're great about, hey, let's go do this. We'll come visit you, and you're like, let's do this and let's go see this.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm always like, yeah,
No,
okay,
thank you.
and I'm good. Yeah, but then when I go,
Yeah.
I'm in a much better mood. I'm having
Yeah.
a good time. I want to take some pictures. You and I in particular will joke and poke at each other and stuff and
Yeah.
drive your mom and
My
Dan
husband
crazy sometimes. Like,
start
gosh, did
debating
it?
over something and then we're like, wait, where did they go?
That's right. And they're thinking, do they ever shut up? Gee, to Christmas.
Why, why do we have
But
to debate about the presidential candidates right now?
that's right. Can't we just, yeah. Do you think that's a great color for that building? I don't know. I really wish they did the windows this way, but whatever.
Yes.
So, it's just people do get older. And if you look around, I bet a lot of their friends are kind of similar.
Mhm.
So everything's reaffirming that. But I think the greatest gift you can give your parents is love.
And maybe,
Even if you didn't get it yourself.
yeah. I mean, I think the scariest thing about it is, yes, you're like, oh no, I'm losing my parent and I love my parent and that connection is strong.
Hmm.
That was the basis of your attachment. Um, and also it feels scary because it's like, well, that's going to happen to me. Actually, that's a really, there was one person who said, their hardest thing with their parents was expectations of what they want for me versus what I want for myself, which really ties into what we were saying, and that their parents are super judgmental. I just want to drop in the best trick for judgmental or controlling people who you love and who love you, but you have that. A lot of people, especially a lot of parents, believe that the epitome of love is to control you into safety. So whatever expectations they have of you are probably whatever they think will make you the safest or most successful. Whatever will make you not experience their greatest fears that they have for themselves, that they assume you have for yourself. Here's the phrase. Thanks for looking out for me. You don't have to promise to do the thing. You don't have to just thanks for looking out for me.
Hmm.
Works wonders. Also works wonders for your own brain because then you start being like, oh yeah, I don't have to do what they say. And it notices the positive thing. So there are a couple of people in my life and in our life who are like that, my husband and I. And that's always my response. Even if I don't agree with what they're saying, I'm like,
Makes
thanks for
a
looking out for me. And they
makes
love
a
it.
huge difference. Yeah, and they your expectations of
Yeah.
your parents' expectations of you as a child,
Yeah.
trying to balance that with a peer-based perspective rather than a parent-child-based perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and because I'm imagining, if we happen to live close to you and you're like, oh, if you start trying to talk me into
I won't
going
actually.
to CrossFit, I'll be like, will you shut up about the CrossFit thing? I'm not going.
I know. You
I may go to a gym and get on an elliptical or something, but you
yeah.
guys in your upside down cowbell lifting whatever, let's see how
No.
close to death we can drive
You know,
ourselves in 30 minutes. I'm not going to that.
at the end of the day, the same thing applies to both parents to children and then children to parents. People don't want or need answers. They want questions. And questions let them move into a future that aligns with who they are instead of who you think that they should be. Because when we
Hmm.
care about somebody and we see them struggling, we're like, let me control you back into safety.
Hmm.
Please just let me control you back into safety.
Well, I think
Uh,
parents do that to their kids
yes. And when
a
you
lot.
shift, yes. And when you shift to, okay, I will never be able to control you. The only thing I can do is ask you questions about why are you making the choice you're making? Because it's
Hmm.
for good reasons. What is the resistance here? What do you want to do? What are your goals? Like asking questions in a genuinely curious way does a lot more. What do, what's the problem you're running into? Okay, what do you think you should do about it? Oh, interesting. Tell me how that goes. That's better.
I used to think, if you would just think the way I think as a younger person, you would be in better shape. which is what parents do to their kids.
Mm.
I feel like I know better now.
Yeah.
And if you would just do what I know is better for
Yeah.
you, you'd be better off.
I think we have time for one more question. And I'm looking at the list that we pulled up. Do you want to look at them and choose?
No, go ahead.
Okay, choose between these two. Being the villain or the cause of a crappy relationship based on a one-sided perspective, or my mom tells everything I tell her to others. She's proven I shouldn't trust her over and over.
Mm,
Which one?
that one's easier. I'll take that one.
Okay, go. Why did you put it lower on the list?
I
It's
don't
like
know.
you chose
It's
the
such a
hardest
long list.
ones.
It was earlier in the day. It's getting later in
I
the day.
had more energy. My
I have
brain
more
was
energy.
functioning.
Probably. Um, can you repeat that one?
Yeah. My mom tells everything that I tell her to others. She's proven I shouldn't trust her over and over.
Amen. So there you go.
There you go.
She she
You
you don't
shouldn't
have to
trust her, so don't
you
trust
don't
her.
have to play. I know you'd love to tell her, you'd love to be bonded, you'd love to have that connection.
Yeah.
I wouldn't don't tell her.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you don't tell her, then hopefully she'll notice and she'll go, you don't tell me anything. That's right, Mom. That's because you tell everybody.
Boundaries,
I
baby.
don't I don't tell everybody. Well, I wish I could believe that, but I love you, but I'm not publishing a newsletter. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not publishing a newsletter. I'd say it doesn't make you a bad person or a bad mom. It just makes you the person that I don't tell secrets to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's not the deal.
That's boundaries. I mean,
That's
that what your response, amen, is such a good example of boundaries because most people think that boundaries is controlling the other person. Like most people think it's, hey, you need to be like this, and that's my boundary. No, boundaries are controlling the behavior I accept. So if she keeps betraying my trust, I
and
control my behavior
right. And but
in
you
response. I
and it
don't share because she's not trustworthy. I don't change her, I change me.
right.
I don't share
But you're going to pay a price, and you just
for
have to
not.
deal. You have to deal with that or
Yeah,
not. Yeah, it's as
but
your
you're
as
already paying a price. You pay
as
a
yeah.
price either way.
I was going to say, as Carol Burch says, it's always a trade
Always
off.
trade-off.
Nothing. You don't
Like,
get 100% of anything. You pick one thing, and that means you don't pick the other things, and that's
yeah.
just the way it goes.
The next one on the list, being the villain or the cause of a crappy relationship based on a one-sided perspective.
One of the issues on the list was that a parent was disgruntled or like angry at the child because they had given them everything. So on one hand, the parent wanted to make sure their child had everything that they didn't have, but then they're angry that their child had everything
Yeah.
that they didn't have, and what they've done is they've just created their own set of reasons to be jealous. They're playing victim and martyr and villain in the same thing.
Yeah.
That's not, and I get that. I don't know if I feel that way about you and Alex at all because we didn't do that much, but not like some parents do.
I compared to what your parents did,
Compare,
you did a hell of a lot.
yeah, but compared to other people, taking that off the table. Um, yeah, that's tough because as a kid, then you're like, how do you win? It's like, I didn't ask. I yes, thank you. I'm sorry. Should I just like, so what did it, you remember
There
in the
is
Monty
no winning
Python, what do you
either.
do when you take the things and you smack them against your back to tear your back up? What do they call that?
Self-flagellation.
The flagellate. Is that what you want from me? Do you want me to
I
like
was just
stand
thinking
here
about
in
the
the living
monks
room? Yeah.
smacking themselves in the
Yeah.
head.
Is that what, yeah. It's like, that's what that
I'll
parent
tell you what,
wants, but that's not the way it works. And
throw in one other thing.
yeah,
Some people are so addicted to being the victim that they will make everyone around them the villain or anyone around them the villain. So the closer you are to them, the more they need to have you as the villain. So it doesn't matter what you do, it will never be enough because what they actually want from you is what you're already giving them. They want a villain. They want somebody who they can blame.
You said what you're already giving them.
You're
But
already giving them a somebody in their life who they are blaming.
ah, just by being there.
Just by being there and by them deciding that you're the villain, you've
Hmm.
done it.
And there's not much you could do about that other than just distance yourself from that.
No, I would say though, the big thing is humans need attachment. Like the reason this is so hurtful for us is because we do need other people. We do need love. And that makes us human and that's our strength. So find it in someone who
Different,
values you. Yeah.
even if it's not your parent.
Yeah.
So so whether you're a parent or a child, if that's not there, you can't
Need.
expect them. It's not fair. Or would you think that it's not fair for a child to have expectations of their parent?
Well, I don't get the question. What do you mean?
Well,
Not,
I think that a lot of us have almost all of those questions because of the way you asked the question to start with is, you know, what are the struggles you have with your parents?
yeah, what's the
And
most painful or hurtful thing
yeah,
about
and
your
most of it
relationship with
is
your parents?
it's the way the parent behaved in comparison to their expectations of what that parent
Yeah,
should be like.
that's true.
Um, and I think when you ask that of anybody in any direction, that's the way it's going to be. It's like, well, they hurt me. Um,
Yeah.
you didn't have a lot of people that popped up and said, I was really kind of a shitty kid. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it may be my parents' fault, it may not, I don't know, but yeah, I was a butthead, and
Yeah.
my problem is my parents still love me even though I was a butthead.
Right. They're not gonna. Yeah. Yeah. That's such a good point. I mean, we all have
Yeah, and I
we
think
all have expectations. So is
parents
it
have trouble doing that.
I maybe it's not about fairness, it's more like acknowledgement. We all have expectations of each other constantly. We're just not aware of most of them. And then every time there's a conflict, one of the primary questions with the scene method
Hmm.
is what was I expecting? Because I was expecting something. I was expecting you to act the way I would. I was expecting you to act the way my friend's parent would. I was expecting something. And then did I verbalize that? Did we agree on that? If the answer is no and no, like, okay, that's on me.
That's the great thing about, I don't know how you came up with that, but
Scene method?
it's just genius. Well, it's
Thank you.
introspective. It's not about the about, it gets you to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So you can start at a foundation of honesty with yourself before
Yeah.
you go to do something else, before you
Yeah.
start to blame somebody else, before you um I love that. You and Jimmy on relationships, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love his stuff because um it feels more natural to listen to his thing because I don't know him,
Yeah.
you know,
You don't want to take mine. Like, that's my daughter. I'm
but I
supposed to
do.
know more.
But I do. It does feel different, but the two of you seem to constantly by listening to your stuff makes me think about my personal spot where I'm at and my responsibility and my perspective in managing my thoughts
Mm,
and it's very encouraging even at
mm.
my age, you know, because it's timeless and it doesn't matter how old you are.
Thank you. Jimmy's gonna love that you mentioned him.
I think he's
I'll have,
fun. It'd be
I'll
fun to
tell
meet
him.
him sometime. He's a, he I the he does the dynamic when he plays the two roles
Yeah.
so well. And it
Yeah.
and that wig. I mean, obviously the 5 o'clock shadow and the wig
Yeah.
on, it couldn't be more, not going not really trying to play the role a lot, but just enough to say, hey, okay, I'm
Yeah.
playing the role of the woman here.
Yeah.
And it's I always smile. I'm like, I like him.
You would like him. You would
And
like him.
he's so on point. Yeah, and both of you are
He
both
tries. He really works hard to be too. It's really impressive.
yeah. Oh, so do you. So do
Thank
you.
you.
I'm super impressed.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
I don't know where you get it because your mom and I are not somehow you're like just a
I think I get a lot of it from you guys Grow- growing up. Um,
suffering.
suffering. I do think a gift of your attention growing up was that one of the skills I wanted to get really good at was cutting through that. So like learning how to communicate with you through, like how do I debate with you? How do I say a thing in a clear way, quicker instead
And
of,
get a positive outcome.
and get a positive outcome. Yeah, I think
Instead of me looking at you saying, "Oh, I get it. You need attention."
yeah.
And you were like, "Not that kind of attention, Dad."
Yeah, crap, damn it. Yeah, that's actually kind of yeah, it would be were so cutting um that it really I think it was for me. I don't know that it helped Alex in this way, but for me it made me so much better at communicating. As yeah. So even the things you hated about your parenting had positive effects.
Yeah, you survived it. Yeah.
I thrived it.
I am not going to take any responsibility for you being who you are and making the decisions that you made to become the woman that you've become because you did that all on your own.
Thank you.
And it it would be trying to think of a nice way to say that. Um, I think it would be stupid for the rocks in the road to take credit for the fact your feet are calloused. I don't want to be that rock. And I have a far worse analogy for that, but I won't use it here.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, I thought that was a really good analogy. I think that is a really powerful thing that very few people get to hear from their parents because all parents do something
You know,
and
it's sad because
very
so
few grow up and say something about it.
yeah, there are a lot of people that have suffered miserably and well think of victims and villains and put whatever the role is. Nobody wants the villain to show up to the victim and say you wouldn't have made it where you were at if it wasn't for me.
Mm,
You know, what kind of mind
yeah,
says that, especially to somebody that if they really love them,
a scared one.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, you've earned everything and
Thanks.
deserve more. So knock 'em dead, baby.
Thanks, Dad.
I'll keep watching. I haven't.
uh,
They're like, "Wow, your daughter is just amazing." I'm like, "I know.
who,
Who who'd
who
have
are you
thunk?"
talking?
She
Uh,
always has been, but I have no idea how that worked out that way because yeah, if other people had been raised in the same thing, they would yeah, not be like that. So
well, I'll tell
good
you that.
chemistry.
You always believed in me. I think that's pretty essential. Okay. Don't
Okay.
fight me. But
I have always played. Well, at least maybe not. Yeah, I was pretty critical, but I have always believed in you.
yeah, and I knew that. Even when you were critical, I felt like you believed in me.
I was frustrated because it's like, oh, come on.
You're better than this.
I know there's more in there than that. You know,
Yeah.
how come I'm not getting to see the good stuff? How come I'm just getting to see this
Yeah.
thing?
I think it
And
made me manifest good stuff. I
you're
was
like,
like,
oh
I
my
gotta
God, I'm not good enough. I'll try harder.
he seems to think somebody awesome is in here. I'll
I'll
pretend.
I'll find them. I'll pretend until I find them.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, we should wrap up this episode in a fun way. I usually conclude podcast episodes with I hope you love your day. I hope you love you. I am now going to add I hope something good happens to you today. What would you like to be part of the outro somehow, like saying one of the three things?
Uh, gosh, my mind's going blank except for I want to say I love you to the moon and back. I just look at you and that's all I can think.
I love you too.
You're amazing. And I'm just, God bless you.
So are you.
You
Right back at ya.
darling. Right back at you. Let's fight about something soon.
Okay. Trans rights.
Yeah. Where's the line? When is this?
No,
I don't get why.
don't start. Don't even give examples. Okay. Thank you, Dad. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hope we can do it again and maybe I can be more professional.
No, don't be professional. People love it that we're not. I'm not.
Her dad's
They love that my
butthead.
mom's involved and my dad's involved. And no, it's the best.
It is.
Unprofessional is good.
We're the luckiest parents on earth. So lucky to have you guys.
Thank you.
And Dan, your husband, Dan the man. Dan's pretty flippin' amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Most of the time.
Why do you have to fucking
I say that about everything.
I'm going to add this in.
That's
Dad
gonna go
and
on
I
my
used to work
tombstone.
together in real estate, and people would say, "How is it?" And Dad would go, "Amazing," most of the time. And I was like, "Dad, why do you have to add that in every time? That sounds like the opposite. Like most of the time, it's kind of hard, but I'm saying it's amazing."
It's that Iowa.
Not too good.
I don't want to.
Nope.
I can't be too good.
Don't think I got too much. I can. Don't worry. I'm miserable. I'm a little bit miserable. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I love Dan. He's awesome.
I do too.
He's awesome all the time, and I love him all the time.
He's having his like third dinner right now. You can see him on the couch.
I tried that for a while.
How did that go?
After 50, it doesn't go well at all. I mean, it feels great until you
In the
can't
moment.
move.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I got my driver's
Dude,
license picture taken the last time like that. Every time I pull my driver's license out for something, I'm like, holy cow. Never doing that again.
Did you try on your tux for your daughter's wedding and you're like, look,
I did. I had to order new pants.
I know. I have a video of you
Am I going to have
with
to
your
button
pants
this
up and
up?
you come out and you're laughing and you're holding your pants and you're like, look, I can't.
Something happened.
Look at the difference between men and women here. You didn't have a mental breakdown. You were just like, I gotta show everybody. My tummy's so big. Okay, this is amazing.
Okay.
Thank
you.
you.
I love you.
I love you.